Anti Est is something that grew into itself and took on a challenge. And the challenge was to invigorate the Braamfontein space and create a space where social interaction and exchange of ideas could happen. And I think out of that was born this idea of Unlearn.
A few months ago, I've come down to Braamfontein just to look at the interaction with South Africa. Now, it's not cool Sandton or cool Joburg. The idea is it's got its own energy and its own buzz. It's funny enough, you find out how people put things together here, just from a fashion sense. And then you go, oh my God, what an amazing, delightful kind of surprise from an area that's actually living what South Africa's Rainbow Nation really was about, and how they integrated all that stuff with fashion and music, art and social behavior. And I think as South Africans, we have to unlearn as to what our past is and what our future is. And I think this space embodies the idea of what we are as a nation, as a place. Yes, you look at it from a design point of view, yes, it's got a logo, it's got a philosophy, it's got a thought. The idea is people want to see. They don't say that's a great logo or that's a nice interiors or great packaging. They go holistically, this place really kind of, okay, it challenges all my conventions of what I think design is. Okay, and yet it's packaged so kind of holistically.
I think the idea was to create unique touch points throughout the space and to allow people to interact and be kind of invigorated and kind of highlight little nuances that get people thinking, get people talking, and infiltrating the environment with all the design cues. It wasn't just about a logo on a wall and a name, it was about a space that actually changes the way people think.
What's quite interesting of here is that this place is continuously changing. So even anti-establishment and the philosophy of unlearn will always be kind of challenged. So in terms of what the food is, what the actual drinks offering are, how people actually engage in terms of what is food, what is drink.
In terms of all the touch points, we basically started from the launch and the unveiling of the space. And we said, how does someone create some intrigue and some involvement that people are inquiring about what is going to happen in this environment? And that started with the shopfront display. And what we did was we activated the shopfront using RGB light, and we built in a different set of layered meanings within the shopfront. And people at any moment in time where they looked at the shopfront, depending on what light was shining, unveiled a different message and a different layer. And that kind of created the first point of a talking point. This principle then was taken throughout the actual space itself, and we try to challenge every touch point. So, for example, the food has been taken to the point where we challenge ingredients and we create unconventional experiences from a flavor sense. We've taken the idea of a conventional offering of drinks and we challenged and said, what are things that are different? How do we take people who have taken time and crafted whiskies, crafted beers, and even to the point where if you serve a drink, how's it served? What's a container like? And I think there's a special offering like tequila.
It's a tequila. It's a house favorite.
Yeah. And it's an infusion of the conventional tequila, but served in a cup. And it's that play on words, and it's got a tea syrup infused with that. And it's a nice nuance that makes you want to come back and try a new thing. Even within the menu, so the menu's got jumbled up words, and it's challenging the idea of language and the way people read and the convention that you've learned a language and you take for granted, and trying to jar the way in which people read information and the context and content that you convey to them, and making them sort of step back and sort of challenge them in that experience and makes them actually pay attention to what they're consuming.
We're looking at music types and genres and how that is an interesting play in terms of what is cool, what is new age, and what is cutting edge. We're looking at obviously having exhibitions. We've had one or two other people come through, have stuff. We've got kind of sculptures here. We've got kind of artists here who kind of exhibit their stuff. What's great on a Saturday, I think is amazing, is that people walk past and they're very curious. And I think when they come in, you get people from old, young, black, white. There's actually no distinction in terms of what the target audience is. And that's what I find quite unlearning and quite refreshing.
And I think to that point, it's unlearning what a space is. Often we try and ring fence something and say, this is a bar, this is a restaurant. And what this space has become is just become an environment in which events and sort of activations can happen. So we've had seminars here, we've had presentations, we've had business consultations here, and on any given day you might walk in here and something else is happening.